Recently, due to events in the Jujutsu Kaisen manga that I won't spoil here, the debate surrounding Goku vs Gojo seems to have been reignited. However, I think it's fairly obvious who wins between the two of them to anyone who's actually watched and scaled both series properly. But I still do want to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen versus Dragon Ball scaling, so today, I thought I'd cover a topic that I have not seen anyone else talk about, and one that I think is a lot closer and honestly more interesting than Goku vs Gojo. Could Kid Goku survive the Shibuya incident from Jujutsu Kaisen? Now, given how the Shibuya incident has so many characters and moving parts, it's important to establish both what I mean by surviving the incident and which version of Kid Goku I'll be using. For the version of Kid Goku, I'll be using the Kid Goku from after the 21st but before the 22nd Budokai, as his fights against both Baba's monster minions and the Red Ribbon Army feel almost thematically appropriate for this video. As for the structure of this video, we will be putting Kid Goku up against every single major opponent of the Shibuya arc, starting with the cursed spirits Dagon, Jogo, Mahito, and Hanami, as well as Chozo, but he's technically a cursed one. I will then be discussing how Goku would do against the three biggest threats of the arc: Mahoraga, Toji, and 15 Fingers Sukuna. Hypothetically, Goku replaces whoever these people were planning to fight after accidentally flying into Shibuya on the Flying Nimbus. Thus, he will have no knowledge of his opponents, nor will he have any understanding of abilities like domain expansion or how cursed energy works, and won't be getting any backup in these fights. Before we get started though, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy stuff like this. We're trying to hit 25k before 2024, but either way, I hope you enjoy the power scaling. To begin, let's scale how strong Goku is before the 22nd Budokai tournament. And for once, power levels make things more confusing rather than less confusing when it comes to measuring power increases. While in Dragon Ball Z, doubling one's power level means your speed and strength get doubled, this is not the case in original Dragon Ball. Between the 21st Budokai and 22nd Budokai, Goku's power level goes from 139 all the way to 180. Which numbers-wise is way less than the boost he got from Oroshi's initial training. Despite this, even before the 3 years worth of training he does by himself off-screen before the 22nd Budokai, Goku's strength is stated to have multiplied by several times by training with Korin and drinking the Super Holy Water, which makes him get stomped by Mercenary Tao to pretty easily beating him. Essentially, this means that a small power level increase is actually a multiplier, making early power levels essentially exponential in early Dragon Ball, rather than linear. This still doesn't exactly answer how strong he is though. So let's actually talk about his AP. After witnessing Goku fight Baba's minions, Roshi believes that he would have outright lost to Goku if he had not trained. This likely means that Goku would scale over the weaker Roshi's full power, not to be confused with his max power form, which destroyed Mount Frypan and has been calculated at city to mountain levels in strength. This means that Goku at this point sits comfortably around or above this level of attack potency, but doesn't scale to Roshi's moonbusting feat. If you actually think Goku scales to max power Roshi at this point, you'd also be saying he's able to output attacks with power levels in the thousands, which we know is obviously not true. So, cope, I guess. As for speed, Goku repeatedly dodges bullets throughout the arc and is faster than Tao Pai Pai, who can throw his pillars at a calculated speed around Mach 20. There are some potential laser dodging feats, but we don't really need to mention them for this video at least. There are some other factors like how Kid Goku fights and his abilities, but I'm going to save them for when they become relevant in the actual fights. Speaking of fights, let's move on to the first round of Shibuya: Cursed Spirits and Disaster Curses. Besides the disaster curses, literally anyone below grade 1 or special grade is not really worth talking about. Like, do you guys really think Goku is going to lose to the Locust curse that Yuji beat? Exactly. One of the major factors determining how these initial fights might go is how many of the curses Goku runs into at the same time. If he shows up early enough, he might run into all of them at once, as they are essentially all in one spot at the beginning when they go to fight Gojo. For most of them, I honestly don't think they can do that much to Goku. When it comes to feats, the arguably strongest one we see is from the Disaster Curse Dagon, whose domain expansion has been calculated to be approximately mountain level, but maybe even more impressive given the anime. However, given how characters don't exactly normally scale to the area of their domain expansion, it's kind of highballing to say his actual attack potency is exactly the same as the scale of his domain. This is pretty consistent, as Jogo's maximum meteor, his strongest attack, is around small city level in power based on calculations. Unfortunately, it's probably impossible for Jogo to hit Goku with maximum meteor, even if they are fighting him all at once, as even non-special grade level characters were easily able to escape it and react to it. Speaking of speed, it's also not looking great, as Chozo's attacks are stated to only surpass the speed of sound, and vastly stronger characters like Maki are stated to only surpass Mach 3, meaning all of these curses are around this range of speed at best, which is way less than Goku's casual Mach 20. While there are higher speed scales to potentially use for the entire verse, like Hikari's feats in the manga, none of these curses scale to that level of speed. This means that when going all out, Goku is vastly faster than them, while also just hitting harder than all of them. However, despite being weaker in stats, the disaster curses have one substantial advantage over Goku, which is the fact that Goku can't see them. If we don't equalize ki and cursed energy, which makes sense given how they function extremely differently and come from very different aspects of people, Goku wouldn't have enough cursed energy to see them. For the most part, this wouldn't be a problem, as even a single punch would take them out, and Goku would be tanking any attacks that are thrown at him. One cursed spirit in particular is a massive problem: Mahito. Mahito gives Goku two particular problems that I don't see Goku finding a way around. Firstly, he can reform himself as long as his soul isn't destroyed or damaged, with only particular characters like Yuji, due to having Sukuna inside himself, being able to permanently damage him. And secondly, Mahito's soul manipulation allows him to manipulate Goku's body and just pop him if he touches him. At this point, I only see one way for Goku to reasonably win against Mahito, and that is completely annihilating him with the Kamehameha. I only really see this happening if Goku is able to see Mahito and realize that his normal punches and kicks aren't enough to beat him. While Goku would be capable of dodging his attacks, even against weaker opponents, he does sometimes allow them to get hits off throughout the story, and Mahito really only needs one touch to win this fight. The best argument I have is that maybe Goku's soul is too powerful to manipulate, but that really is impossible to prove. While later on in the franchise, Goku's able to fight without thinking to avoid threats and can sense opponents even if he can't see them, Goku either doesn't have that ability yet or hasn't shown the capacity to do so yet. This seems especially true given how Goku gets caught off guard by pretty obvious things, like Commander Blue's abilities, even after being warned about them explicitly. So if Goku does come across Mahito in particular, I think he would honestly not have a way to win in a random encounter. But by that same token, he could easily deal with the other cursed spirits even if he can't actually see them. However, this is in the off chance he does come across Mahito. Any other scenario where he doesn't, he's probably going to be fine. But what about the three strongest threats? Toji, Sukuna, and Mahoraga. To begin, Toji is definitely the easiest. While he is faster and stronger than the Disaster Curses, the only really unique ability he has in this incarnation is Playful Cloud, which is really far inferior to his arsenal of Inverted Spear of Heaven and Soul-Splitting Katana that he has while he was truly alive. Using most scales, Goku is just a stronger, faster fighter and would just outbox Toji and overpower him. With the Soul-Split Katana, Toji might be able to get off a hit and one-shot Goku, but that presupposes that he is faster than Goku and has the Soul-Split Katana. That can only really be done by saying he's faster than Jackpot Hikari, but even then, I could then grant Goku his potential relativistic feats. Things get really interesting with 15-Finger Sukuna and Mahoraga though. For both of these matches, it really does entirely depend on if you think Goku is capable of surviving Sukuna's domain expansion, as it's somewhat difficult to scale Sukuna's exact attack potency at this point. He's above the likes of the Disaster Curses with ease, but how much is really unclear, meaning his attack potency is above city level or above mountain level. If you think the attack potency of his Cleave and Dismantle is above the entire energy contained within Dagon's domain. Taking the higher end into account, then both Sukuna and Goku are above mountain level by an unquantifiable degree, and Goku really has no counter to Malevolent Shrine. However, by that same degree, Sukuna's durability is way less than his attack potency, as he admits himself that Maximum Meteor would have damaged him. This vagueness in Sukuna's scaling goes for his speed as well, but for the sake of this, we'll say that they're around the same level of speed, given how there are potential light speed metas for stronger versions of Sukuna, who admittedly wouldn't be hundreds of times stronger than the 15-finger version. Essentially, it comes down to if you think Goku can annihilate Sukuna in a single Kamehameha, or if Sukuna pulls out the domain in time and just completely batters Goku until he's annihilated. Again, this is presupposing that they actually are mountain level. A very similar scenario occurs for Mahoraga, who, while being weaker than Sukuna, has the added perks of being a Shikigami, which gives him the same invisibility that cursed spirits have. Once again, if Goku can't one-shot Mahoraga, he might just adapt to ki attacks or become resistant to Goku's basic punches and kicks, which might become a serious problem. Still though, a full power Kamehameha would certainly annihilate Mahoraga just like Sukuna. It's really if you think Goku can land the hit or not. There is one final possibility of what could happen, and it's the chance that Goku transforms into a great ape. Now, I wanted to see if it was actually possible. Based on shots, at least from the anime, we see that there is not a full moon. However, we can actually check if there was a full moon on October 31st of 2018. And actually, the anime perfectly recreated the phase of the moon, which is actually pretty impressive attention to detail. But it's not a full moon. Giving the benefit of the doubt that enough Blutz waves could reach Goku from this half moon, everyone in Shibuya is screwed. A power level multiplier of 10 would put Grade 8 Kid Goku's power level quite literally in the thousands. So even a rampaging wild Kid Goku would probably nuke the city with ease and annihilate everyone, good or bad. Overall, I think that even without cursed energy, Goku is clearing pretty much every opponent, and has a solid chance of beating the likes of Sukuna, while his lack of knowledge would lead him to lose against, ironically, the far weaker opponent of Mahito. So, could Goku survive the Shibuya incident? He's got a solid shot. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you disagree with my takes, make sure to let me know how I'm wrong in the comments down below. See ya!